Hi everyone, this is Jpar. Just sitting here by the fireplace with a warm cup of cocoa. You know, I was hoping to do my podcast, but apparently there's this terrible blizzard outside that's stopping them from showing up. I'm looking out the window right now. I don't know what they're talking about. Oh, it's beautiful out! Oh! Okay. Maybe it is cold out there. Let me just brush the snow off. If I had one Christmas wish, it would be that my friends were here to watch Christmas cartoons with me. In fact, I feel a Christmas song coming on. Oh, sigh! Someone's here. Hey, everyone! Kathy's here!
Hey guys, how's it going? It's got awful cold out there. You know, the weirdest thing just happened.
What's that?
I was standing outside and I was feeling really disappointed because I wasn't going to be able to make it here, you know, because the blizzard and the roads and everything. And then this truck came by and it was from the St. Nicholas company. And the truck driver came down and it was the weirdest thing. He just asked me for some milk and cookies.
Kathy, do you know what this means?
No.
Everyone loves cookies, even truck drivers.
Yay, cookies! So what were you planning on watching?
Well, I was thinking of watching some Christmas cartoons tonight. I got
Ooh.
Grinch, I got Charlie Brown. Oh, someone's here.
Huh, I wonder who it is.
Let's find out.
Silent night.
What are you doing singing Christmas carols?
Well, I started drinking some eggnog a couple hours ago, and then I realized I had to get here, but there's a blizzard, so I couldn't drive. I had to walk. I started going caroling. The first house gave me beer. Then the second house gave me beer. I couldn't stop, and then things got fuzzy, but I guess I'm here now.
We're supposed to be doing a podcast tonight.
I knew this place looked familiar.
Oh, Lipp. Come on in, have some cocoa.
Did I hear something about cookies?
Yeah, she gave them to some stinky truck driver. Oh. But enough about that. That's an uninteresting story. We're going to watch some cartoons tonight.
Oh, you guys going to watch a Garfield Christmas special?
Oh, I've never seen that.
I have. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
I have to do it.
All right, come on in.
Woo, thanks.
Well, you know, I guess just the three of us could watch these cartoons. I wonder who that could be.
Christmas Gonzo.
Batman?
Kermit.
Miss Piggy, we're naming Muppets?
You're all wrong. It's obviously Chewbacca. I'll get that.
Happy birthday!
It's your birthday, Boo?
Oh, wait. I mean, Merry Christmas, everyone! I'm glad I could make it. You know what? This blizzard almost made me, completely miss this entire evening.
That was confusing.
Guess what I brought? Our favorite. Frosty?
Our favorite?
Frosty! Come on!
Frosty the Snowman? The cartoon?
Well, of course. There's one and only.
Ugh.
Come on, I love that cartoon.
It's one of the greatest, the oldest.
Absolutely.
Oldest of the oldest.
I thought we were going to watch good cartoons.
It is a good cartoon.
Hey.
I still wish you were Chewbacca.
Sorry to disappoint.
Alright. I suppose in the spirit of Christmas, Boo, we'll watch Frosty the Snowman.
Yay.
You better.
Come, friends. Come watch Christmas cartoons with me by the fire's warm, glowing, warming glow. This is Jpar, and you are listening to the We Promise Nothing show. This week, we're doing a Christmas cartoon special. We have Kathy, we have Lipp, and we have Taboo. But before we get started, I'd just like to remind everyone that our great music on the show is brought to you by Sounds Like and Earful.com. If you need great music for your podcast, check them out. Sounds Like and Earful.com. Alright, so this week we're going to watch Christmas cartoons, if you couldn't tell from our opening there. Say hello to the crowd, everybody.
Hi, it's Kat.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hey, it's Lipp. How's it going, everybody?
Boo is apparently a rapper this week.
No clue why.
Alright, so if you're not in the Christmas spirit yet, maybe we'll get you in the Christmas spirit, because we watched 4 fantastic, or maybe not so fantastic cartoons, Christmas cartoons. You'll have to listen to the whole episode to hear what we think of them. But let's get things underway. Our first one is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, which is a classic. Directed by Chuck Jones, Ben Washman. Came out December 18th, 1966. 26-minute short was originally telecast in the United States on CBS on, December 18th, like I said. And CBS repeated it annually during the Christmas season until their last airing in 1986. Obviously based on the characters by Dr. Seuss from the same book. It was narrated by Boris Karloff, who is famously known for portraying Frankenstein. In those old, actually Frankenstein 1931, it goes back that far, based on the classic Mary Shelley book. A few little facts. Dr. Seuss disputed casting Boris Karloff for fear that he would make the Grinch too scary. Boris Karloff's voice changes when he speaks for the Grinch. Originally, he spoke in his narrator voice throughout. After recording was complete, the highs in the voice were mechanically removed for the Grinch, giving him the gravelly voice heard in the finished version. Thurl Ravencroft received no screen credit for his singing, which is that song, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, which is an oversight Dr. Seuss attempted to rectify by sending letters to every major columnist in America identifying Ravencroft as the singer. And he's also part of the chorus on the other 2 songs, apparently. Thurl Ravencroft, who sang the song, is perhaps better known as the voice of Tony the Tiger. They're great in TV commercials. And when you actually think about the song, you think back, I can actually hear the Tony the Tiger voice now.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look
You
that up.
really are a heel. Yeah. Dr. Seuss wrote the lyrics to all the songs. Dr. Seuss was initially uninterested in animating this or any of his books, but Chuck Jones of Looney Tunes fame managed to persuade him. All the production and character designs were based upon original artwork from the book. Dr. Seuss thought that the Grinch more closely resembled Chuck Jones' animation rather than the original Grinch drawings, which I totally agree. I totally see like that influence, that Looney Tunes influence in this cartoon. But it's a Christmas classic, probably revered as probably one of the greatest, or maybe not the greatest Christmas cartoon of all time. But what did you guys think?
I really, really liked it. Very nostalgic for me. I watched it as a kid pretty much every year. The one thing is, it is very Looney Tune-esque. You can see it in the artwork. I don't know if there's too much to hate about this. Even, these days, I watch it as an adult and I still like it. And I think we discussed this earlier. It doesn't have too much religious symbols in it.
No.
Despite the fact it's a Christmas movie, there's not much religion.
Right. Some of these other cartoons that we did watch did kind of show off some of the religious side of Christmas. This one's kind of like this mystical, fantastical world that doesn't have any religious ties or background, but they're obsessed with Christmas. The Who's and Whoville. What did you think, Boo? This is your first time seeing it.
I have to admit, actually, that was the one biggest surprise for me of all. I know that this has been brought up before for me, that I'd never seen this cartoon of all the Christmas cartoons anyone could have seen, I guess, since their childhood. This is one I've never really gone out of my way to see. So for me, it was actually...
Which I find appalling.
Yeah. Never got around to it. So to say.
To me, this is a staple in Christmas specials and cartoons. You have to watch this one.
One would think, Here's one thing I will admit to, and I think it's like what you had said. You get pretty strong emphasis on the Looney Tunes aspect of the style of animation drawn on screen. I caught little tidbits of it there without even before you mentioning it. And I thought that was pretty cool. I think for me, above all else, it had the emphasis on the how can I put it? Much more articulate characters in an animation that I've ever seen in quite a while, and I think that kind of goes back to that original Looney Tunes kind of or origin in terms of the animator. So I think for me that was the most memorable of all. Obviously there's key scenes throughout the movie that I absolutely love, kind of brought in from one of my other favorite Christmas movies, the other Grinch movie, as most of us know, with Mr. Jim Carrey.
That was released in 2000.
Yeah, so with that said, I kind of had that as reference and comparison to work with, and I realized that there's little moments in...
Which I find weird you saw that before you seen this.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I never got around to it. Leave it alone. But I think for me, it was the fact that it was very much like, as Lipp had put it, it was very nostalgic, It brought back the memories of, your childhood without even trying. So...
Good job for them.
Great A for that.
Good job. All right, Kathy.
Well, this show, obviously, not obviously, but I've watched it at least 40 times. I've literally watched it every year since the year I was born, every Christmas. It isn't Christmas without it. I would notice the difference. I still, to this day, get a kick out of the things that he calls the toys, the Tam-Tinglers, and the...
Oh, yes. That's like Dr. Seuss's just like way with words, like some of the stuff that he comes up with.
Very poetic in the way he tells stories and whatnot. And I've always been a fan of
Dr. Seuss. He's a classic storyteller.
Yeah, he's one of my. And I'll always like the music, like the song. I know it backwards and forwards, and
it's very fun to sing.
It is very fun to sing, and if anyone has the chance, they should actually just read the lyrics to the main song and actually read what he's actually saying. Because for a long time, I always sang it, but I never really thought about what he was actually singing, and it brings a new light to the cartoon for me, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of words that maybe you probably wouldn't understand, like what the reference is, like when you're younger. But it's funny words. They're like the words are hilarious. And apparently, if Dr. Seuss wrote all those words too, so that's why it's so ridiculous and great.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kathy, I have a question for you. What's like an iconic scene when I say The Grinch Stole Christmas and you think of the cartoon? What's the iconic scene for you?
Oh gosh.
Or the first one that pops into your head?
Well, obviously, it's probably the when Cindy Lou Who catches the Grinch. Trying to steal the Christmas tree, and then you hear like that and it's okay, that, yeah. And then for some reason that always just sticks in my head first, and I don't know why. And then he makes up that lie.
Yeah, for me, I like that too. I like the lie and her waking up. I always remember that
clever old Grinch.
I always remember him stealing all the candy canes beforehand, and just him slithering around the Christmas tree.
Yes,
as well as pulling the dog up and down.
I really remember his heart being 2 sizes too small, that part, and that's then showing the X-ray and his heart growing, and he lifts up the sled, using all his Grinch strength there.
And he has the cutest Grinchy face right at that point.
I always feel bad for Max the dog.
Oh yeah, me too. Yeah,
does so much work.
And they really showed that off in the Jim Carrey one too, but we're not reviewing that one this year.
Okay, one last quick question for everybody.
All right.
What do you like better, the Jim Carrey Grinch or the cartoon? I know it's apples and oranges because it's a
That's tough. I mean, the Jim Carrey one is nice because it kind of expands on the story, and I like the way they portrayed it. But I can't say which one. I don't know which one I like.
It's a tough question.
Better.
Cartoon for me. I mean,
the cartoon's the original.
It's not Christmas without the cartoon, but I can survive a year without watching the live action version.
I have to watch one version of it, whether it be the cartoon or the movie version, at least one version.
So I'm going to tell you this. I agree with Kathy here. I like the cartoon better than the live action one, but I take a lot of flack for that. My sister hates it. She's like, no, how can
hates the cartoon?
well, not hates the cartoon, but hates the fact that I like the cartoon better than the...
Most
Jim
people
Carrey one.
would actually give you flack for the opposite. If I
Really?
said, honestly, if I said that I like
You have
the
to
movie
do a
better than
poll
the
here.
cartoon, I think most people would be like, what the hell are you talking about?
No,
That's
I'm
something
just-
for the comment section.
There you go.
Yeah.
So,
poll, please.
people listening in YouTube land, help us out. Which do you like better? Do you like the Jim Carrey's 2000 How the Grinch Stole Christmas, or do you like the classic Chuck Jones animation? Let us know in the comments below.
And defend.
I don't know. As somebody with a short attention span and who enjoys rhyming, just the cartoon really satisfies me.
What about you, Boo? Well, I mean, this is your first time, so you
Grinch
probably have
really
more
satisfies.
appreciation for the live action, right?
I'm kind of neutral either way, to be quite honest. I guess because the Grinch movie was never one of my staple Christmas movies, so neither of them does better for me, so if I can say that. They're both the same.
All right. So this week, because we can't really rate them out of stars, because we rate our movies out of stars.
Gingerbread Man?
Well, I was gonna say Christmas trees.
Oh, okay.
What should we rate out of? Gingerbread Man, Christmas
can we
trees?
each have our own different rating?
Yeah.
What do you want to rate out of?
Chocolate chip cookies.
Boo.
5 missile.
Star of David's.
Yeah.
Star of David.
On the Christmas special.
5 mistletoes. Let's say.
All right, so
I'm doing Gingerbread Man.
Star of mistletoes.
so what do you give the Grinch out of 5 mistletoes?
Let's see here. Maybe 2.5.
2.5.
2.5.
Wow.
I'm not
You didn't feel the love, eh? Didn't feel the
Wow.
Grinch love.
I think for me, because it was never really part of my childhood, I kind of feel maybe that's why I'm lacking that part. But I don't know. I just can't see this being very much a movie I have to see for Christmas reasons. I feel why I can understand why people would want to have this every year, but for me, I can never keep up with that. That's a movie I feel like that would just get on my nerves after a while. Now the classic animated short, though, I think that for me I can appreciate the fact that it tried to at least hit its original message. I think that with any other, I can appreciate the nostalgia. That's about it.
Lipp.
All right. I'm going to go with 4 Gingerbread Men.
4, yeah.
Yeah, very nostalgic. Absolutely loved it. It's a staple from my childhood.
All right.
I can't really complain.
Well, since I'm rating out of Christmas trees, I got to be a little more generous and not stars. I mean, if I'm gonna rate a Christmas tree, and it's a Christmas movie. How much of a Christmas movie is it? Well, if I said that I gotta watch a version of this every year, then I guess I gotta rate it pretty high. So, since I'm rating out of Christmas trees, 4.5 out of 5 Christmas trees. It's a damn good Christmas movie, and it's a damn good classic, and it doesn't really push the religious thing about Christmas, and I think everyone can enjoy it.
Well, for me myself, I'll have to give it 5 chocolate chip cookies.
Oh my! It's a good thing we're
No,
rating in
just-
cookies,
Well, exactly, but I cannot.
because we've never done a 5-star rating yet.
No.
Have we?
Oh, we might have.
I don't
Yeah,
remember.
with
Star Wars. Never mind.
But no, I have to watch it every year. Otherwise, it's just not Christmas. So if something that's that important to me must deserve a 5 chocolate chip cookie.
Well, we might have to get away from the fireplace for a bit, because there's those some really warm reviews. Well, for our parts on the Grinch, not so much from Boo. It's actually pretty frosty on his side of the table, but
It's all about the balance.
all right. Now let's move on to our second cartoon, which was what is it? Garfield Christmas Special?
Oh, I guess it is. All right.
Lipp.
Yeah, okay. So I decided to choose a Garfield Christmas special, made in 1987. So Garfield, John, and Odie, they go to John's grandmother's house for Christmas. Lorenzo Music plays the voice of Garfield.
Love that guy.
Classic. He also played Peter Venkman in the Ghostbusters cartoon.
The real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, and he did tons of voices in the Adventures of the Gummy Bears as well.
Tummy.
Tummy Bear, Bubbles, a couple others.
Tommy's the main one that he does.
Yeah. Garfield's, or I should say John's grandmother's, voiced by Pat Carroll, who also does Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, I knew. Yeah, okay. I knew I recognized her
forgot about
voice.
So anyhow, it was broadcast in 1987 and ran around Christmas time on CBS for another 12 years after that, until the year 2000. It was off the air for a bit, and ABC picked it up. ABC Family picked it up in 2008 and started airing it. TV Guide actually ranks this on its top 10 list of best family holiday specials. It's number 10.
Ooh.
So
I didn't check to see where the Grinch sat. I should have really looked at it.
it's probably number one. I don't know.
Probably number one.
Well,
Probably
maybe one
close.
of the other ones is number one.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows?
Maybe like A Christmas Story is number one and like Grinch is number two
could
or
be.
something. Like, who knows? So that's it for Garfield.
So yeah, that's about it. It was actually most of your guys' first time ever seeing it. Kathy, you may have seen it once
I've
before.
seen it a few times, yeah.
So what'd you guys think?
Well, something I remember is this is like pre Garfield and Friends. Like this is like when they used to do the specials on these network stations, and they're kind of mimicking what Peanuts was doing because Charlie Brown was doing. They were doing that too, but of course, even Jim Davis. I mean, is kind of mimics Peanuts in his own way.
Absolutely, and you can see it in the animation a bit. Like if you've seen Garfield and Friends, and you go back and watch this, it's the animation's a little shakier.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, I like the older Garfield specials better than I like the Garfield and Friends cartoons.
Garfield and Friends is more for kids. So.
Yeah, and I also thought they really grabbed like that sarcastic orange cat known as Garfield. You know, they just really portrayed his character a lot more in these older specials. I don't remember if I seen this when I was younger. I mean, I don't recall it. I probably did, because I loved Garfield when I was younger. Still love Garfield. But yeah, this was interesting. I never saw it before, and it was a bit touching when the grandmother was talking about losing her husband, and it was
It actually gets a little sappy there for a bit.
bit of a surprise. What do you think, Kathy?
Yeah, I watched this one a few times. It's not something that I've watched several times or anything, but I've always gotten a kick, believe it or not, out of the grandmother, just her laugh and the way that she's drawn everything. I just really love that character. And another thing that really moves me about this particular Garfield special is that it's a rare moment where you see Garfield get mushy.
That's true, because he usually doesn't
see that
like
very often.
Yeah, he's usually he has a disdain for Odie. You know what I mean? And he actually gets and he gets
loves him.
pretty mushy about Odie giving him the back scratcher.
Yes, yeah, and then the grandmother and everything else. I don't know. It's a great, it's a great Christmas special, and I just love Garfield, so it's always something I enjoyed.
I don't really think this is like a classic one that I've heard a lot of people say that they have to see every year, but it was alright. What did you think, Boo?
Actually, I think that was my favorite aspect of it. More than anything else had to do with the family values, I think.
Yes.
The whole cartoon, right from beginning to end, right from the morning when Garfield gets woken up, abruptly, when he thinks he's actually dreaming of his favorite Christmas morning, turns out to be the total opposite what it ends up becoming, but turned out to be even better, right? It had to be to do with the fact that it was all about family, nothing but family. But it took until the end of the cartoon for you to kind of fully piece it together, and it had to do both with, I think, the grandmother side story I think I love the most. It's like you said, it was like the shock of, hearing about her missing her ex-husband, and expect that out of a Garfield cartoon. And by the end of the cartoon, you kind of get closure on that because she ends up with, I don't want to give away any surprise or spoilers, honestly, but I think it was just a great little ending to a cartoon. I felt that I wasn't expecting such a sad note, but also a heartwarming one at the same time.
Yeah. All right. What do I want to...
Well, hold on. I'm going to give my review.
Okay. Yeah, right.
So, I grew up with this cartoon, actually, and around Christmas time, we actually had this VHS, had blue writing on it. We had all the Christmas specials on it, and we taped them, right? So, of this VHS, I think the Garfield one was probably one of my favorites, one of the one I watched the most. And, I haven't seen it in a few years, and I liked it as an adult, kind of like the Grinch as well. I find, actually, now I relate a lot to Garfield and the Grinch, just as an adult, that pessimism that Garfield has for Mondays, and
I still relate to Garfield.
Absolutely, it almost got better as an adult a bit.
And
I
I
realize how much for adults.
And like I said, I love that voice actor who does his voice. He hits the
Lorenzo music.
That's that perfect match of not caring and just that sarcastic. He's so laid back, but at the same time he's so yeah, I don't know. It's only that one voice that guy can do. I don't think he'd be imitated by anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you guys all said, the grandmother has such a strong character, strong female character in the special. But then you also see her kind of sad side, when she's talking with Garfield and stuff like that. Then it hits home, and you don't expect it to, and it actually hits you with the feels. And all around great special. I love it. That's why I suggested it. I'm happy you guys got to see it, a couple of you for the first time.
It's a hard one to rate. It's my first time seeing it. I love Garfield. Oh, God. The family thing was really good. That's what I really enjoyed about it.
Not very religious also. They did a little...
Well, there was a small little part where they did the prayer, and they meant... but anyways, we're not going to get into that too much. Anyone else want to take this first on rating it?
No, it was your...
Me? Oof, okay. I'm going to go above the Grinch here and give it a 4.5. I love the
Even
Garfield
above
Christmas.
the Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta give it like a 3.5, I guess. It's good. I like Garfield. That was great to see. I really enjoyed it. That's 3.5 Christmas trees, everyone. But I just don't think that it's like
4.5 gingerbread man. He's missing a left arm.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, but I don't. I feel like I should have grown up with this cartoon, but I hadn't. But and I don't feel it like hits that like. It has to be a cartoon that you have to watch every holiday season, but still a good one. You should check it out.
Well, I definitely give it the 4 chocolate chip cookies. Just for the simple fact that I'm such a big fan of Garfield. I love the grandmother, and it does give you the feels. And as much as I don't have to watch it every year, I do enjoy watching it once in a while. Once in a while I'll forget about it, and it's nice to be reminded of it and rewatch it. And I don't know, definitely a 4. Solid 4.
And boom.
I might have to concur, guys. 4 it is for me too.
Wow, that's on a first viewing as well.
I think it was for the fact that it was more heartfelt. I don't know, maybe if I go back to Grinch, I know I was a little harsh there, guys, but I mean, for me, it just didn't hit home.
No,
even though everyone else is the total opposite, right? But I mean, for me, it was almost like with Garfield, it was a bit of a surprise in the end. It wasn't supposed to be the message I think that I was expecting to leave, with after having seen it, but. It was going to get a 3.5, but everyone kept talking about Grandma so much, so I kind of figured because of Grandma's spunk, she's going to give it a 4 out of that. But, that was a good one for me.
I've got a quick question here for all you guys. Would you say out of the 4 specials we watched, it's the one that made you the saddest at one point?
I might have to say
yes. I would agree with that.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, I would also say yes.
It was the one that hit me the most in
and
terms
for
of
that one, I
emotion.
almost gave it a 4, but I kind of want to stick to my guns on
Absolutely, stick to it.
Grandma wasn't enough for you? No.
Well,
she didn't do it for him.
It definitely brought it up there. Like, I mean, she was a good part.
Oh, it brought it up, did it?
Wow.
That went wrong so fast.
I still got my cocoa. We're good.
All right, so we move on to our third Christmas movie. Frosty the Snowman.
Yes, sir. Let's see here. Well, Frosty, he's actually one of the older of the bunch, I think, out of the 4 animated shorts. But I'll say this much: we have some big names. We have.
So what's the year on it then?
Let's put it this way: Frosty was actually based off of the original song, which had me confused the most because I mean, there's some big names obviously dropped there, but we're not going to get into that for a moment. But Frosty the Snowman, the TV program, was written by Romeo Muller. Directed by Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. and starring Billy D. Wolfe and Jackie Vernon. But let's not forget about the famous Jimmy Durante, who I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He was the one actually that was probably the most well known of all of the actors, I think, throughout the whole animated short, because he was obviously the voice you hear throughout the entire short.
So he's the narrator.
Well, exactly, like I said, narrator.
Okay,
but
I didn't hear that. Just clarifying for the.
Some big, some details I never thought I'd know to hear, though, but, well, for one, it was released back in December 7th in 1969.
69.
Yep. Now, the writer of...
Grinch was 66. Got you beat on the older one.
Yeah, no, I kind of figured. I kind of felt like it was closer to one of them, but anyway. Romeo Muller, the writer himself, actually, he was also known for probably the longest running airing Christmas special in history, apparently, was
really?
Rudolph.
Okay.
Rudolph the Red Nose. Apparently, that's the one that's considered the longest running.
Yeah,
I think that was also a CBS exclusive.
That would have been worse than watching this for me.
Yeah.
Is that the Land of the Misfit Toys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all like
Yep.
the puppets or whatever.
Yeah, the
I don't want to
claymation.
be a miss.
Lucas or what's it? With the mountain climber guy.
Cornelius.
Anyways.
Something.
Whatever. We're not reviewing
Anyway,
that one, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're not talking about Rudolph here.
Yeah, fuck Rudolph.
Not yet.
But Jimmy Durante, he was actually also known for another little attribute I didn't think would actually surprise me of knowing, because I didn't grow up in this generation.
Right,
but
yeah, I'm not even familiar with him.
apparently, he's also known for having a very big schnoz.
Okay.
Or nose, for those of you who don't know what that is. But that's what he was known for most of his career, was that he was actually known under the nickname the Schnoz.
The Schnoz.
Or the Great Schnozola.
The Great Schnozola. Awesome.
So I thought that was some cute little information. But this is probably one of the oldest of the animated I remember watching as a kid, because it was literally a yearly thing that I remember it popping on TV, whether I wanted it or not. It was shoved down my
Right.
in front of me, whether if it was of my own doing or not. But that's just because it's become such a common thing every year, and I think that has become a CBS special. That's probably why. But yay, Frosty.
Well, well, everyone's looking at me, so I guess
What would you like to say,
I'll
Jake?
cover what my problems are. When I was younger, there's not too many cartoons that I disliked. I hated this cartoon. That fucking stupid happy birthday. I'm like, what? Why is he saying happy birthday? It's a fucking Christmas cartoon. It confused me when I was a kid. And then it was just, the animation was bad. And it was just like, okay, when is He-Man Christmas special coming on? Because I'd rather watch that right now.
You think the animation's bad?
It is pretty bad.
I don't see
I
that.
think it's probably one of the best of the four we watched. It's not the
No
best.
way. The Chuck Jones animation was better. The Charlie Brown animation was pretty bad. But yeah, just, and that one song it's like, I know it's based off the song Frosty the Snowman, but they couldn't come up with any more songs. They keep singing the same song, Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, but they're
over
singing
and
different
over.
parts of the song for different parts of the show.
But it's just, ugh. Anyways, I will say this. As an adult, I'm rewatching it now. I do see why other people like it, and I actually see what the worth of it is now. I see why some people do like it, and I didn't mind it as much. I think it drove me a little more battier when I was a kid. I was just like, oh, I can't believe this garbage is on. But, now it's just like, not that bad, I guess. I can see what people like about it, but it was just one of those ones that never appealed to me. In fact, I actually had a disdain for.
I'm going to agree with you in the fact that with the song in itself, you hear that song almost time and time again. I think that's probably one of the easiest reasons why this movie can become old really quick. Like you said, it's the same song they keep re-singing in different ways. I actually loved the fact that it actually went away from the typical Christmas movies that we all watch. Rudolph and all the others, I kind of felt like they were very much classics. Frosty was based upon a song, I think, that was sung in so many different international languages. I think it was also given to, right? Am I not right? I mean,
You did the research, didn't
French
you?
too, yeah.
no, I did not. No, not on that part. But
We promise nothing.
I just love the fact that, if someone were to literally sing Frosty the Snowman, whether they understood English or not, they might have actually understood what that represented. I'm almost willing to guess that.
I
Anyway,
think he's on a Santa Claus International level a bit. I think
he's
you're right.
an iconic character, I think is what I'm trying to say. And I think Christmas has become, on a completely different topic, it's become something else. And I think that's why, for me, I feel like the feel of Christmas has been lost. But something as iconic as a character as Frosty can never be broken down, other than in this case, maybe a very repetitive song.
He can be melted.
He can be melted, yeah. Broken
But never
Now you're
going
talking.
forever.
On an
Never
atomic
going-
level, yeah, you can separate the hydrogen and the oxygen atoms. No,
Tell us about more science, Boo.
I just love the fact that it was a character that I knew since childhood, that I could remember without worrying about it. But I guess the song became the statement or the landmark, I think, throughout it. Maybe that's why it was more memorable than Grinch. I don't know.
All right, so
Well, I've watched this cartoon probably as much as I watched The Grinch. And I actually like, there's tons of things that I like about this cartoon. I like the wizard and, you know, how he just like messy, like he's just so off the wall and so bad, and he tries so hard and he screws up so badly. And Santa Claus, like, you know, he gives him trouble and everything. And I like the sound of the rabbit, Hocus Pocus, you know, his voice and everything. It just reminds me, and I quote it a lot with my brother, actually, believe it or not. You know, if I drop something, say, oh, messy, 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 or, you know, if I'm busy, like, we quote that as well. And there is a lot of quotable things in that cartoon. And, I've always enjoyed it myself.
Alright, I guess for me, so actually I enjoyed this as a child. I liked this, you know, special a lot. It's not on the Garfield and Grinch level for me where I have to watch it every year, but, you know, like every 2, 3, maybe 5 years as you get older. So I haven't probably seen it in 10 years, and I watched it and I thought I was really going to like it again. And I found it was very kid-friendly. Very for kids. There's not that much adult stuff in it. Like, I found the Charlie Brown, Garfield, and the Grinch, like, as I become an adult, I'm more of a Grinch around Christmas, so I can relate to all those. There is no Grinch in this. There is no pessimist. There is no
true.
pessimist.
You are right about that.
So I felt there was very little for me to relate to as an adult in this special specifically. And I didn't realize when I was younger that all they do is they sing one Frosty the Snowman song.
Thank you!
Split into 5 verses and just kind of repeat the same song a bit. So I didn't realize that as a kid. And also, here's the one thing I do remember as a kid. You said you had disdain for it as a kid.
Yeah.
Jpar. I remember sitting there watching it, and she's like, what's her name? Karen. The little girl gets on the train with Frosty to go to the North Pole. And she's like, my mom won't care unless as long as I'm home for dinner. And as a kid, I remember thinking, like, how stupid is this kid? She's not going to be home for dinner. So, like, as a kid, I even thought it was kind of stupid.
She's going to the North Pole, yeah. She's not going to be back for dinner.
No. And then, you know, of course, that causes all the problems for Frosty. I understand that's how the plot has to advance, but, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to throw out... Can I throw out a score first here?
Go ahead. How many gingerbread men does it get?
Ooh, this is You know what? I thought I was going to come in and give it 3.5 gingerbread men.
Oh.
But I'm dropping it down to 2.5.
Woo.
It's... I was actually, like... more annoyed and disappointed than I should have been in it. I actually had, like, you know, good thoughts coming into this, and I was like, God, this kid is stupid. I remember her being stupid, and
even Frosty the Snowman is just dumb. He's like,
the happy birthday, and
he's like, I don't know what a traffic light is. I don't know what this is, but I know what a ticket to the North Pole is. Like, come on.
I know. I'm being a Grinch here, but
I'm being a Grinch about this one too. And
sad.
when my 6-year-old self would probably rate this like a 1 or a 2 or something like that. But in the spirit of Christmas, and because, like I said, I did see the value in this and how some people would enjoy watching this every Christmas season, I will give it 2.5 Christmas trees.
Like I said, as a kid, I would have given it 3.5, but as an adult,
I was a kid, I would have gave it less than. I would tell you, I probably wouldn't tell you to fuck off, but whatever the equivalent of me doing it as a kid at that point, yeah.
I still give it a 4. You know what? I still like it. I don't care. I don't know. I think the sounds of it, it just has a lot of memories for me. And, you cannot take away Frosty from me.
I still have the memories, but...
No, I still enjoy it.
I haven't seen it in 10 years.
I had the memories. I had the memories of pain as we started watching this again. Because yes, I've seen it when I was younger. I was like, oh, I remember. It's all coming back now.
Well, okay, with the song thing, it never bothered me because you know what? Like, it was broken up into 5 songs, but it was just kind of progressing with the story. You know what I mean? And that's why I was saying a little bit differently every single time, just because they were explaining a different part of the story. It was a part of the narration, and that's why the song was through the entire show. And you guys all suck.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? Like Team America. So they're like, Team America, fuck yeah. And then later they're all sad. It's like, America, fuck yeah. So it's like, Frosty the Snowman, we're sad. It's like the sad part of the song, you know? It's like, he was a jolly, golly old soul, or whatever they say. Anyways.
And it was repeated over and over again. You should know the lyrics to it, Jpar.
I tried to block it out.
My favorite part was the ending of Frosty where thumpity thump thump thumpity thump thump. Jpar's like, finally a different song, and then it rolls right into Frosty. That's just the start of it. It's just the start of it. It's not a different song. It's just a different part of the same song.
All right, Boo. So now that we've shit on your choice, what do you got to say?
So glad I got to torture you guys with that one. Apparently,
Well, you paid us back for Charlie Brown. It's a great pumpkin Charlie
everyone's
Brown.
gonna get so sick of Frosty there. It's not even funny. Honestly, I'm not that far from you guys in terms of the rating, and it's only due to the fact that it does get repetitive, and that's not the reason why for me I chose the movie. It was probably one of the most iconic. That was, to me, the only immediate reason why I'd chosen that. But to defend one thing, I have to admit, kind of like what Kathy had admitted, it brought back memories as a child, and I think for me as a child, if I can bring that up for a moment there, I kind of feel like that was the reason why I love this, for so much, because the song was so memorable. It was such an easy one to remember, and they'd always bring it back up in the movie. So when, as a kid, you would sit there, you would always think, well, when are they bringing the song back? When are they bringing the song back? And that's exactly what they did, right? They always brought it back. And every so often, just to kind of tie you back in with, which was based upon the original song. So the two kind of had, roots for me, from back when. So for me, it's only a 3 out of 5. Mistletoe.
Mistletoes now? Weren't you?
It was mistletoe.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Don't change it on me again.
Sorry, I thought you said reeds or something before.
No, it was mistletoes.
I'm rating in Christmas trees, so
Chocolates and cookies.
I'm on a totally different level than you right now. All right, and now finally our final Christmas cartoon, which is Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yes, sir, it is. So Charlie Brown Christmas, yay! It's an animated television special based on the comic book strip Peanuts by, yes, Charles M. Schulz. And it's produced by Lee Mendelsohn, directed by Bill Melendez, and it debuted on CBS on December 9th, 1965. So, of course, Charlie Brown finds himself depressed despite the onset of Christmas, which it still rings true for a lot of people now.
Yeah.
Lucy suggests that he actually direct a school play, and he's still, however, mocked and ignored by the other students. And, of course, this cartoon also touches over the
over-commercialization of Christmas.
Thank you. But ironically for them, the over commercialization, I can't even say it.
Commercialization.
Thank you. I can never say that word properly, and I don't know why.
Carry on.
But it just basically the decorations, and they're not even talking about at that point all the Christmas specials and all the gifts and everything else that are thrown into
And we're
Christmas.
so commercialized now in comparison to what they were talking about. As Lipp mentioned, he's talking about the Christmas lights, Snoopy putting the Christmas lights on, and that was considered commercializing Christmas back then, whereas that's just tradition now.
Mm-hmm. And this cartoon is actually served to remind people of the true meaning of Christmas, which...
we'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah. The special was actually sponsored by the Coca-Cola Company.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was written over a period of only 6 weeks, had a shoestring budget, and was completed in only 6 months.
Wow.
And there's something a little bit unconventional. They actually used child actors for the voices, which back then was rarely heard of.
That's awesome.
You never even heard of that before.
And those kids say some big words.
Exactly. The soundtrack actually features jazz score by pianist Vince Guaraldi.
Okay. But once again, music is great in the Peanuts cartoon.
Yeah, and then again, unusual for this time frame, there was an absence of a laugh track, and it was common in a lot of animated shows back then. So the absence of it was actually
all those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah, exactly. So that was common back then. So and this was one that it was just. Everything was just very unusual.
I'm glad it's not in there. I hate those fake laugh tracks.
Yeah.
Which you will hear featured on this show, probably in the opening skit.
Ha 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 ha. Oh, anyway. The producers actually and the network thought it was going to be a disaster. Believe it or not.
Just like anything great, they always think it's going to be awful.
But then, of course, it proceeded to receive an Emmy and the Peabody Award, of course.
Nice.
And every year since its premiere, it's been showed on CBS every single year since
Really?
Yeah, every year.
Wow.
1965?
That's even up to now?
Up to now.
Shit.
And just for like a little bit of trivia, the little speech that was done by Linus was actually from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, verses 8 through 14. And it's it's actually the King James version of the Bible.
So, yeah, and that's to touch upon the controversial part of this particular cartoon, is that they try to... This one's really focused on the religion, and they mention that. It's really mentioned, and they really drive that home.
That's just how it was in the 60s.
Well, considering that it's the term Christmas, I'm not talking the holidays, I'm not talking anything else, but the term Christmas was originated by the birth of Jesus. So they're just trying to bring back to light what it actually started as, and like it's quite, like, we will admit that it's fallen pretty far from that now, but that's how it originated, and it was giving a nod to that, and I think back then they were just trying. They noticed that Christmas was starting to be commercialized right back then, and they decided to change it up a little bit as a try to bring it back to what Christmas was really about in family and not gifts and crapola.
So do you think that's maybe where like maybe Charlie Brown gets some of the hate from? Is from that particular thing from this special, or?
Well, I think that he's just frustrated that people are...
No, I mean, like, as an audience, like, because we discovered there's, like, not everyone likes the Peanuts and Charlie Brown. So
well,
you think this attributes to it?
Oh, I'm sure it does. Like, I don't know if that would be the only reason, but I'm sure it has something to do with it, because people are scared of the origins of it, but whatever.
No, I'll tell you this. Robin mentioned in the past the reason she doesn't like Charlie Brown is everyone's a dick to Charlie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really realize it. I knew everyone was kind of a dick to Charlie Brown, but then you watch it and you're like,
especially
everything they say to him is just like, hey, Charlie Brown, don't try and, don't fuck this up, or
you
suck, or like, Then he goes pick up a tree Charlie Brown fucked it up.
Screw this up for it's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. He screwed it. He Charlie Browned it again.
Yeah, absolutely. They're always shitting on Charlie Brown.
But
so I get why...
Well, wasn't that a term they had used even in the movie? Out of all the Charlie Browns, you're the most Charlie Browny.
Yeah, exactly. But it actually depicts actual childhood behavior, though, and I think it was he's mean to Charlie Brown. It's like, well, yeah, but that's how kids are in schoolyards. They always have that one kid that they pick on. It doesn't matter if they deserve it or not. There's always that one kid.
That's true.
It was part of the message. It's kind of like what you guys had pointed out. This is a timepiece, and it pretty much paints itself and pins itself into a corner in terms of where it belongs in the timeline. Because back then, like Lipp had said, these were kids that were so used to seeing the commercialization of Christmas all around them, and I think it got to that point there where you end up with a cartoon like this that speaks volumes on how we lost on the key message of what Christmas for them represented at the time, which was in a religious sense, the birth of Christ. That's all it came down to. Yeah, sadly it became a controversial note in the end, but I think today we can kind of look back on that and say, you know what, that was said for good reason.
It's a sign of the times.
Christmas today is still very much the same. I mean, we're sadly to say we're still spending more money than we're actually enjoying Christmas for what it really is.
Unfortunately, Christmas hasn't changed. On Facebook, it's all the same argument: Happy Holidays versus Merry Christmas and all that such. Yeah. But we'll try and review this without. We'll ignore the religious ramifications and what our personal beliefs are. We're gonna forget that, and we're going to talk about the actual thing as it impacts you as a Christmas special and how you feel about it.
It's still very much a cartoon, right?
But by the way, Kathy, you have the oldest one, which is 65. It's older than the Grinch.
Oh, that's true.
Grinch is 66.
All right, so let's get down. Anything else you guys want to mention? This one I think a lot of people consider a classic as well. As you said, it's been on every year on CBS, which I didn't even realize it's been broadcast every year. Especially with that religious kind of line in there, you think it'd be something that'd be phased out, but apparently not. People love Charlie Brown that much, I guess.
Yeah, and it's played at least once or twice per year since. Every year.
Yeah, I don't doubt. Growing up, I always knew at some point Charlie Brown Christmas was going to be on there.
Yeah, a lot of times Christmas morning.
Yeah.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool. So, we want to review, or do you guys want to mention something? We talked about Charlie Brown a lot during the Great Pumpkin episode.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
that's
why I was
true,
like, well,
that's
no.
All right, so let's
we
get to
can review.
ratings then.
Well, I will definitely. I'll rate this one a 4 as well. Actually, no, 4.5. I'm a huge Charlie Brown fan. I can relate, with relate with Charlie Brown and that time frame, and I don't know. I've always liked the music in it and everything about it. It just, I don't know, 4.5 for me. That's chocolate chip cookies.
Boy, you are in one hell of a Christmas mood there. My God, the
Yeah.
ratings are getting higher every time. I think we all know where I kind of stand with Charlie Brown overall, but I think for me, I do have to appreciate the Christmas tone to this one more. I'm probably going to give it a 3.5. I don't know if that's maybe... I don't know, that's not my highest one so far tonight. No, that's my second highest. But anyway, 3.5 for me, only because it still had a Christmas impact for me. And I don't know why. I keep thinking back why Grinch never really gave that to me. Why is that? That worries me.
I don't know. Maybe you are a Grinch, Dave.
Could be.
I totally Grinched up Frosty
I've
the
been-
Snowman.
Yeah, I Grinched up Frosty as well. I'm gonna Grinch on this one a bit. I'm gonna Grinch on this a bit. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm just trying to put it all in order, and I think I like Garfield best, then Grinch, then Charlie Brown, and then Frosty at the end. And I think Kathy and Boo already mentioned it, but I was reading just a quick synopsis of Charlie Brown Christmas, and it's Charlie Brown against commercialism around Christmas time, and you don't really see any, and everybody says like, oh, my dog is falling to the victim of commercialism, and all he did is, like Jpar said, decorate his doghouse with
Crystal
lights and a couple stars and stuff to try and win a competition.
Right, exactly.
So it's just...
Which is funny, because
that's standard tradition now.
a TV special could be considered commercialism. And would you say it was promoted by Coke?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They're pulling a fast one on us. Yeah, anyhow, I'm going to give it a 3.
All right, I'm going to give it a 3.5, just like the Garfield one.
3 for gingerbread man.
3.5 Christmas trees. I love the music as per usual. I like that classical music they always play in Peanuts, and I've been really appreciating these Peanuts cartoons more that I see them now as an adult than when I did when I was young. Even though I always liked them when I was young, but now I think I like them even more. I like the things they say, how the kids talk like they're adults, and they have big words, and that stuff's kind of funny. Maybe I just see the humor in it now, whereas I didn't really see the humor in it as much. I just know that Charlie Brown had a shitty life and everyone bugged him, and anyways, I feel it's a classic, and 3.5 Christmas trees. I didn't really see this one too. I don't know how I didn't see this one so much when I was younger, but I'm glad I saw it now.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like because I knew it was going to be on TV every year, I didn't watch it every year. I could, okay, I'll see it next year kind of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like I should have seen it more, and I hadn't seen it at all. I don't think, now that I think about it. I've seen like Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown, other Charlie Brown Christmas or other Charlie Brown specials, but this Christmas one I never ended up seeing it. And this one's like a classic too. You always hear the Charlie Brown Christmas tree being referenced, and it's even sold in stores. You can buy a Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yep, I got a little crappy 2-foot tall fake tree. I call it my Charlie Brown Christmas tree.
Yeah.
It's got 3 ornaments and a set of lights that I just plug in. It's already on there.
Perfect.
Done.
It's kind of ironic how they took the message of commercialization and then spun it, literally on its head. I mean, let's face it, they're selling us the tree that's supposed to be the statement of the message.
Well, yeah. But that tree
cartoon
came
perspective.
out way later after this
I know.
cartoon became like an iconic classic.
Still,
You
it
go
still
and
has
you-
the same effect, right? I mean, whether if it was at that time when the TV special was occurring, or now when we see very much the message they were trying to warn us about way back when. Well, think about it. It makes sense.
Like some stores, all you see is Christmas Snoopies and the story of Snoopy and everything like that. The Charlie Brown Christmas tree and everything.
I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons why they still air it yearly. I mean, yeah, they may have that controversial religious tone, but that's actually one part of it. The whole thing in itself leads up to the message of Christmas, which is, I still think to this day at its core, family values.
Yeah,
It's
which
just that we
the
can-
Garfield one I agree. I agree with the message that Garfield had with the family values over the religious ramifications of Christmas.
It's just for most of us with families who may have, some religious background, we can still appreciate the fact that I think we can take such a message that back then had to do with, the birth of Christ, as they might say. But in the end, I just love the fact that Charlie Brown's friends finally realized how much of a jerk they were to him, that they finally figured, oh, look, we're going to take his tree that wasn't so bad and make it look like, like it's $1 million in a matter of seconds,
It's kind of an odd change of heart in the middle, like at the end of the cartoon. It's like, oh, it's the end of the cartoon. Let's be nice to Charlie Brown now.
They finally realized just what exactly he was trying to do for the lot of them, right? Which was just kind of bring back that feeling of Christmas, but he keeps screwing up, and of course they were never
it's
around.
Like, don't you get
good.
anything right, you blockhead?
Even when he chose the tree, we all knew when he was choosing it that he was absolutely
Even
right.
Linus is like, I don't know, but it was like the only green tree there, even though it was tiny.
It was the only real one. It was obvious.
Right, because the other ones were yellow and pink and all these different colors.
They're all aluminum trees.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
all
right.
fake. They weren't real. They
Right.
weren't plants. So, of course, I think what ended up happening was it was the same thing any of us might have done. Like, okay, well, we're trying to avoid, this commercialized version of Christmas. Let's go for the one tree that obviously brings back that true natural feel. And, of course, it's the only almost dead tree, in the middle of the lot. But, of course, that's the whole point of the message. But it's like, okay, let's take this twig and a bunch of little greens and the one ball on the top of it. It made it look like it could
Hold the ball, and then it just slumps right over, and
Yeah.
it's like, I killed it.
I'm going to straighten it out with a single blanket in a matter of seconds. We're going to whirl around it with a bunch of decorations. And
And then suddenly it looks like a full tree, yeah.
Well, where the hell are the other...
Yeah, I don't know.
Green come
Apparently
from?
all the Snoopy's decorations made it look like a full tree.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
poor Snoopy, after all that work, putting all the decorations on
Yeah,
the
but he
thing,
already
just
won,
took
so
down.
it didn't matter.
Yeah,
He already
true
won
enough.
first prize.
True enough.
And, Snoopy's a pretty cool guy.
No,
Stuff kind of just slides off his back.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they call him Joe Cool.
Besides, Snoopy can afford the new decorations after he just won the prize
Exactly.
money.
There you go. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed stopping by and drinking my hot cocoa and watching some cartoons with me.
Totally fun.
Delicious.
Great.
What happened to the cookies? There's no more cookies.
You'll have to ask Kathy about that.
Really? Where were the cookies?
to
Some
give them
truck
away.
driver.
I had to give them away to get here.
Yeah.
I had to literally
Some
toss
guy
my cookies.
named Nick. I don't know.
Damn you, Nick.
Damn you, Nick! Anyways, get out of here. Go back out into that blizzard. Get out of my house.
Kevin.
Just kidding. All right, everyone listening, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Crazy Kwanzaa, I don't care, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate. I hope you just appreciate the holidays and have a great time. Watch some great Christmas or holiday cartoons, whatever you want to call it. This is Jpar signing out.
Kathy.
The boo.
And Lipp.
And remember, if you disagree with anything we say on the show, leave a comment below. But also, we promise nothing. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you, everybody.
Answer our Grinch poll.
Answer the Grinch poll. Good night.